An inheritance tax, as you might expect, is a tax on what you inherit. The federal government doesn't treat anything you inherit when someone you love dies as income, but 6 states do. If you live in one of these states and your parent or someone else leaves behind a will that names you as a beneficiary of a substantial amount of money, you might have to pay a tax on what you get. The inheritance tax is sometimes described as the last twist in the taxman's knife. We'll go over a bit of history about inheritance taxes as well as what states charge the tax. First, let's talk about the originations of inheritance tax. The history of the inheritance tax stretches as far back as ancient Rome. There was evidence on sheets of papyrus that Augustus imposed a 5% tax on large inheritances. This tax did not have to be paid by close relatives of the person who died. The idea of exempting close relatives still applies today in most states that charge inheritance tax. How much you pay in tax depends not only on how much you inherit, but also on your relationship to the person who gave it to you. But is an inheritance tax the same as an estate tax? An inheritance tax is different from an estate tax, even though both are known as death taxes. An estate tax is a federal tax paid by an estate if it is worth more than $11.7 million. There are also 11 states that have their own estate taxes, or 12 if you include Washington, D.C. These 11 states are Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. An inheritance tax is different, though, because it's paid to the state by the beneficiary of an inheritance. If you live in Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Nebraska, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, you can expect to pay tax on your inheritance. Rules and rates vary by state. Check out the link below for a complete breakdown of inheritance tax rates. We bet you're wondering, is there a way to avoid inheritance tax? The most common way people protect their beneficiaries from paying an inheritance tax is to give away their assets before they die. In many states, gifts made more than 3 years before you die don't get taxed. Life insurance payable to a beneficiary doesn't usually get taxed either. Another way people avoid this tax is by putting their assets into a trust, which is taxed differently than an inheritance. Inheritance tax, like any other tax, can get complicated. If you live in one of the 6 states that collect it, you might want to ask a lawyer or a tax professional for help putting together your will, so you don't subject the beneficiaries of your property to a big tax bill. A good place to start is eForms, which has the largest database of official legal forms on the internet. You can start by browsing our fillable templates for wills and other estate documents today.